All right. So, welcome to the Vencedores podcast, where we discuss the winning topics. I'm your host, Carl, not one or two, but the third. And I'm joined here today by my personal mentor, software engineer and entrepreneur, Mr. KD. Okay, sir. How you doing today, KD?
Hey, Carl, doing great. I can call you Carl, right? I don't have to call
Yeah.
you Carl Palmer the third.
Nah, you can just say Carl. That's cool with me.
Awesome. Great.
So it's definitely my pleasure to be here with you. We appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to meet with me and chat on a topic I believe a lot of people, want to learn more about. So on today's episode, we're going to talk through a challenge majority of people face, and that's being stuck. And more importantly, how to get unstuck. Along the way, we're going to touch on topics such as financial literacy and overall mindset behind these things. That sound good to you?
Definitely, we can do that.
Awesome. All right, let's
It's
just dive right in.
my pleasure to be here. I wasn't doing anything so productive on a Sunday. So I thought might as well go live and just have a conversation with you. So as much as I'm going to talk, I might also pick something from you, Carl, throughout this conversation. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. As people, and this is kind of like my first question. So as people are going through their lives, right? They could be students, employees, fellow entrepreneurs, or still figuring things out. We often hit that wall that knocks us down and come face to face with a challenge of not knowing what to do, or even why we feel the way that we feel. So my first question is, what are some reasons that people fall into this state of mind where they feel stuck, or better yet, what does it mean to be stuck?
Yeah, that right off the bat, man, that's a deep question right there. And there are so many different layers to it, Carl. And I can share a few from my personal experience where I found myself stuck. And I've seen, working with a lot of people, I see where they get stuck. Okay, so I can share a little perspective on that. So first thing is, we live in such a complex world today. The world itself, I think, is simple, but we have made it so complex. And most people, 95% of the people, they just don't even know who they are. They're living somebody else's life. So they have set goals in their life. They want to accomplish things based on what they see on a TikTok, what they see on Instagram, quote unquote, the filter life, right? It looks so glamorous because everybody's put filters on there. And then people are trying to be that. So they pick things that they want to do or they have to do based on what the world tells them to do. Like coming from a middle-class family, I was told, go to good school, get good grades, land a good job, your life is going to be set. And I did that. But then I found out at my job, I couldn't live my values. I had very different values than what I saw in corporate. And that's a place where I found myself stuck. Now I had an option. I could have just stayed there and complained and criticized everyone around me and become one like most people in corporate who just are angry, but they behave because people will take you to HR if you don't behave. So,
right.
But that's where a lot of people are. They're just mad. They're upset. Why? Because they're just not fulfilled in their life. And why? Because they have picked goals, and then they've actually picked professions first, and then they've picked goals. Right? They're trying to map their goals out of their profession that they picked first. It's like putting the cart in front of the horse.
Yeah.
So then they're trying to make it happen, and then they're struggling. And through all this mix comes in social media. And that's where people feel I'm not good. I'm not able to do this. So that's where a lot of time people are just confused. Why? Because there is so much of misinformation that gets directed to them. Now, the place where someone could start from getting unstuck is just defining who they really are. What are their values? What's their value system? What are the things that they value in their life? And just trying to live their values. They don't have to, not everyone has to become a Steve Jobs. Not everybody has to become Elon Musk. We could be just great the way we are and who we are. But till the time we are chasing that excellence within ourselves. And that's where a lot of people are so outward focused. They're just trying to do things to make someone happy, their parents happy. By the way, I'm not saying you shouldn't make your parents happy, right, but at the expense of what? At expense of what? So people just don't live their values, and that's where they get stuck. And then they're trying to find fulfillment out of other things. And I've seen a lot of people do that. They work really hard in their life because, Carl, I'm sure you must have heard about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right?
Yeah.
Talks about, the basic starting point of anybody's life is they just need the basic stuff in life, just stuff like air, good food, just shelter and a roof over their head. And most everyone has that. But then when people get to something called as they need security in their life, that's called a secure job. I need to have a certain amount of money coming in, and quote unquote, that's a good life. Mm-hmm. But so many people just get stuck in that good life. They're just chasing the dead end goals the goals that the world have defined for themselves. It's like a merry-go-round. When you're a little kid and you see a merry-go-round, you want to jump onto it. And then if it starts going too fast, now you're stuck. You don't enjoy it and you cannot get off it.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of people are. So, and that feeling of stuck is, it's a deeper feeling, because it's a place where people feel insecure if they step out of their boundaries, the boundaries that they have defined, the world has defined for themselves. So a little thing that I had to do for myself was, I said, within the environment I'm planted in, within corporate, I can still live my values. Mm-hmm. Like, I come from a background where, my mom and dad taught me to be a kind person. I equated kindness as weakness. Mm-hmm. Growing up, I saw people who were kind, they would be taken for a ride. So I said, man, I cannot do that in corporate. But then I was not happy because I was not living my values. So I said, no, I'll be kind. I'll be okay to take a jab on my face, but I'll be kind in corporate. Right? Same goes in the world of entrepreneurship. I started working on business ideas and all that. But I said, you know what? I'll be kind. I'll be a kind-hearted person. I like excellence as one of my values. I like to do the best based on my capabilities. I'm no better than Carl. Carl is not better than me. But can I do the best based on the qualities I have, based on the strengths I have? Right? So that's where a lot of people have just never defined that. And you know why they don't define that, Carl? Because we're just busy. We're just busy. We are on that merry-go-round. We're just like going 9 to 5 to still 65. We're like, man, I'm just going to work hard, work hard, work hard. And hopefully one day my life is going to be set. And I have a mentor. He made a statement once. He said, hope is a good philosophy, but it's a terrible strategy. Yeah. It's just a philosophy. So that's where, people don't have their values defined. They don't know what they really want out of life. They're living an external life that someone else has defined. They feel, if I accomplish this, I'll feel happy. Oh, if I can get to have this kind of Instagram and TikTok following, I'll be happy. And it's a pretty, sad state to be in. But the moment we go inwards, we start defining who we really are, what success means to us, what do I really want to accomplish with my life? I think people will have much better grip on their life in general.
Yeah. And definitely going off of that, like you mentioned, defining what's in us is how we kind of get to that unstuck point, but I know a lot of people who aren't sure what they want to eat for dinner, let alone, what their future desired state is. It's hard to look at, for a lot of people, it's hard to look, 5-10 years down the line of how they want to live when they don't know what's coming next in front of them. So how do you recommend people begin to think through that lifestyle that they want to live, 5 years and beyond from now?
Yeah. It reminds me of this, I forgot his name, but an ancient, some really old author. He said, thinking is hard. And that's why most men or most people don't think. Right. So we want someone else to do the thinking on our behalf. I mean, I've seen people, Carl, who will sit down and they'll plan what their Christmas is going to look like. They've planned the vacations for next year. They have mapped it out, but they don't have no plan for their own life. And that's when it's like, they understand, if I take a journey, if I go on a trip and I don't plan it, it's going to be one heck of a trip. Like, it's going to be not so good a trip. We'll be lost somewhere. Yeah. But we just don't realize that's true for our life as well. That works same for our life as well, right? We need to define certain things for ourselves. And a lot of time people don't do that because they have this external factors they feel influence their life. I could very well say, oh, I come from a certain family. Oh, I have certain things not going in my direction. But the moment we complain and we point finger at others, we actually take away that power that we have, that power of making a change in ourselves. Right? And I know a lot of people who would be, oh, I'm working hard, but I'm not moving forward. But at the same time, I'll show them exactly a similar person who is going through same situation, but they're making tiny progress. And like we were talking earlier today, right? It's some beats none. Yep. Tiny progress. And that's true. That's the new mantra I'm following in my life. I may not be able to do everything, but I can do a little bit to progress my cause, progress my dream, progress my little goals that I have set for myself. Right. And sure, there is a whole concept of luck and fortune. But I also remember my coach making a statement once. He says, luck is nothing but laboring under correct knowledge. And today, Carl, I feel there is enough information, enough knowledge available. Is someone willing to get that information? Like, someone could just tune into this podcast and they could take one thing out of this and say, you know what, if that dude could do it, I could actually progress in my life. Right. And we don't have to see the whole stairway to take the first step. Right. I can take the first step and then go to the next step and then the third step. Right? Like someone was asking me, Katie, if I make $1,000 extra, what should I do? I said, nothing. You should just take that money and invest in yourself. And that's what people don't understand. If you ask them, hey, do you want to buy a Louis Vuitton bag? Oh, sure. There's a 50% discount on it. Do you want to buy a bag from Louis Vuitton or shoes? They go, yeah, I'd love to have that. And if you say, hey, there's a sale going on, some library or some books being available, they go, oh no, I'm good. I'm cool.
Right.
For me, when they say I'm cool in such situation, I'm like, no, you're not cool. You're a fool. That's what I told myself, because a bag is going to last you only so long. But what you put in here, what you put in here is going to last forever. And what do people put here? News, social media.
Yeah.
I remember meeting my coach. This is many years back. He says, do you read books? I said, I only have one book. He says, what book? I said, Facebook. I thought it's going to be funny. He was not amused. He was not happy when I made the statement. He's like, man, you're 26. You should not have jokes like this. So I had fun with that. But anyhow, so, what do you invest here? Because neck down is worth what? It's just basic labor, right? How much can I make neck down? But this thing right here, our mind, our brain creates so much of value. But we are putting social media and we are following news channels and we're trying to see what's going to happen in the White House. I realized I can't control what happens in the White House, but I can control what happens in my own house. Right. So I started feeding good information to myself. And it's amazing. It's like it's like a dark room, Carl, and you have to find a black cat. What do? You're in a dark room, you have to find a black cat.
You just start fiddling around,
and you flip the switch on and you're like, oh, there's light. I can see the cat now, right? Yeah. And that's what knowledge and that's what information does. Now there's a whole concept that you have to apply the knowledge, but till the time you don't even gather the knowledge, how would you apply it? And I like all that when people talk about, oh, knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is. But knowledge by itself has an ability to organize itself. Like, I have no idea about basketball, though my name might be KD. But if I start studying it today, at least I'll start remembering statistics. I'll be able to have a conversation with you 6 months from now if I'm just studying a little bit about basketball. I may still not be able to play, but I can at least have a conversation with you. Why? Because knowledge has this inherent power to organize. And that's where anyone can start. We are all good students of so many other things. We become good students in engineering and good students of finance, but I feel we should become good students of life and ourselves. If we can do that, the path gets revealed to you. It may sound a little philosophical, but that's what has happened for me.
Yeah. And so just touching on that as well, financial literacy is a topic that people mention at, dinner parties, networking events, yet it isn't discussed in schools, and it's often information we have to seek, and even at that point, we have to determine what's the right information, where to get that information. My question for you is what was the switch that flipped for you that began your journey of financial literacy, and where did you go to get that information?
No, great question. This takes me back. And like I said, I come from a household where money was not abundant. I mean, I had decent amount of money coming in, but I saw my parents work really hard for it. So growing up, I defined success as money. That's what I defined it as. I said, I just want to be comfortable. And more than just myself, I had this desire that I just want to pay back to my family because they've worked so hard for me. So, and like I said, once you cast a vision for yourself, like I want to live life like this, doors start opening for yourself. Right? Have you noticed this, Carl? If you're in the market looking for a car, like you're like, man, I want to buy this car. All of a sudden, you'll start seeing ads coming into you'll see friends talking about it.
Yeah.
Some different cars, because you're in the market, you're paying attention to it. And that's what I just started doing. I just started paying attention to money and success and just happiness and just living a good life. I said, I got to create that life for myself. And that's so true. A lot of time we are hoping life is going to be served to us on a platter and we are born with certain fortune and all that. Not true. Maybe there's part of luck and fortune and all that, but at the same time, so many places we create our own life. So financially, I just started paying attention to certain things. I saw that I understood right off the bat that finance is not plus and minus and all that. There's so much of philosophy and psychology to it, right? Who does not know this, Carl, that spend less than what you make? Everyone knows that, right? And when people throw this out on TikTok, like, yeah, make sure your expenses are less than your income and budget yourself. I'm like, the whole world knows that. Matter of fact, United States knows that, and we are still in trillions of dollars of debt, right? Yeah. So, because there's so much more that goes on. I think money is emotional. Money has a very different energy to it. And till the time you and I don't understand that, we're not going to have it in our life. So I started paying attention to how I think about money. Do I think money is hard to make? Do I think money is bad? And that's what we get trained. I don't know about you, but I come from a middle class family where they said, oh, money is evil. Rich people are like this and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, middle class always hates rich people, but secretly they want to be rich. So when I met my coach, he said, KD, you got to stop hating the very thing that you want, because you'll never have in life that you hate. I said, oh, that's interesting. He says, if you like what you want, you'll actually eventually have it because you want to work towards it. I said, yeah. And that time I was single. He's like, would you date a girl who you hate? I said, never. He says, so why would you even pursue financial success if you hate financial success? I said, oh, that makes sense. So I started there, Carl, just changing my mindset towards money. I said, money is easy to make. It's about adding and subtracting and multiplication, but then there's emotions to it, there's philosophy to it, there's psychology to it. So I'm going to work on myself so I can handle my money much, much better than people around me. That was the first step. Next is I can only budget so much. Don't get me wrong. I believe in the fact that we should not be spending all our money on Starbucks lattes, but at the same time, if I just play the devil's advocate, just a $5 of coffee is not going to make you rich or broke, right? And if it does, then you have a bigger, deeper problem to solve, right?
Yeah.
But I said, I can sure budget, I can live within my means, but who stops me from expanding my means? And we live in an era of opportunity. There's so many different opportunities. So I just had, like they say, right? Opportunities are everywhere. You just got to have observant eye. So I started paying attention to it. I said, this is how I want to live. I want to live life at my own terms. I want to be kind and I want to be happy. I want to feel accomplished. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to have my parents travel, not just economy. I want them to travel first class. I want them to live good. I want my family to call me whenever they need me for whatever. So I started casting that vision for myself. And then I went to work on it. And it's amazing because I had that deep-rooted desire to do that for my family. I got connected with people. It's just doors of opportunity, they open for you. Like Rumi said, right? He's a famous old ancient poet. He said, whatever you are seeking is seeking you.
Yeah.
The problem is, what are people seeking today? They're trying to find fulfillment out of a bottle of beer. And that's what they find. That's why their friend calls them for a beer party. Right? Yeah. None of their friend calls them for like, hey, I have an opportunity for you. Why? Because they're not even seeking that. So I had to cast a vision for myself. I said, you know what? I want to live life like this. I want to do these things. And then I just connected to some really good, wonderful people. And it's just had been a path for me. And this is just not my story. This is a story for a lot of people. They were looking for certain things in their life. They got connected with the right people. Yeah. And my last thought on financial literacy in general is I can work hard and I can open some small doors for myself. But if I'm going to make a significant leap in my life, then someone else will have to open the door for me. I'll have to get connected with the right kind of people, right kind of community. And that's why they say, right? Show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Yeah. And there's a lot of deep meaning to it. It's just not a quote, but it's so true. You show me your friend and I can show you your future.
Yeah. And so as we get ready to wrap things up, I kind of wanted to close on this topic here. And so what do you have to say for those who say, I want more out of life, but I don't know how to change my situation. I'm stuck in an endless cycle. Things are always happening to me. I have the worst luck. Things don't go my way. The ones who say, I'm too busy. I got work, school, my kids. I got a DoorDash to make an extra buck. I don't have time. Like, what is your suggestion, or what do you have to say? What's your advice for people in that situation?
Yeah. That's good. I think I was talking to you earlier. I was watching a comedy show. It was Dave Chappelle. He made a funny statement and then he built upon it, but I'm not going to go on that, what he built it to and where he led that whole conversation to. But he made a statement. He says, great intentions, stupid action.
Yeah.
A lot of people have that. And just to put it mildly and nicely, I think they say there's a big difference between want and expectations. People want success, but they don't expect themselves to be successful. Want shows up in conversations and expectation shows up in behavior. So I cannot control how my life is going to be tomorrow. I cannot control what my future looks like, but I can take control of my present. I cannot build a fantastic future if I just keep staying stuck with my stinking past. So I have to leave the past as a past. And I love what my coach said once. He says, your past is like the rear view mirror. You never drive a car looking at the rear view mirror forever, right? Like you just check it once in a while. That's what your past should be. It just should be an experience for you, but you're looking forward. So where can I start? If let's have someone is like, oh, I'm really stuck in life, the great place to start would be gratitude. Just look at the way you start your day. Most people just roll out of their bed and they have no idea what the day is going to look like. And then in the end, they go, I had a long day because you just didn't plan for it. There was a gentleman whose advice I took, was again on YouTube. His name is Jim Rohn. He said two things. One was about time and second was about money. He says, you never spend the money till the time you're not spent it on paper, which means have a budget. Second, he said, don't start a day till the time you're not planned it on paper. So a lot of people just don't have that. They couldn't cast a small plan for themselves saying, hey, tomorrow I'm going to do these things. And if someone is like, I have no idea where to start from, here's a fantastic place to start from. Just start in the morning with a gratitude prayer. Small little prayer for yourself. It could be anything. And a lot of time people, they go, oh, I have nothing to be thankful for. Really look around. You actually woke up today. There are so many people who didn't wake up. You could just thank God that you woke up. Your family is healthy. You live in an apartment or in a home or wherever you live. You could just thank for what you have, and you'll actually have more to start as you build upon it in your life. So that's a great place to start with how you start your day. Gratitude is a good thing to do. Second could be just go on YouTube, start, play some nice motivational video for yourself. A lot of people, they say, I've met a lot of broke people who say, oh, this motivation stuff doesn't work. I'm like, you should give it a try, definitely. It's like, oh, they're like, yeah, I tried it for 2 days. It didn't work. Yeah, it's like, shower. If you don't shower every day, you stink. That's why we say take shower every day. Same goes with motivation. Same goes with good, positive information. Nothing is going to change in a day. But if you start making small changes every day, your future will be different. So maybe start a day with a little bit of more on a positive note. Right? Definitely not social media. I mean, you can actually go to social media, but what channels are you subscribed to? Like I'm on TikTok, but I have most of motivational good content coming at me. And then there are some stupid content also that creeps in, and I just hate it. They make me wait for 15 seconds for me to find out it was just dumb thing to do. Like this morning, I'm being very candid with you. This morning I was watching some construction videos and I'm like, why am I watching this? Why am I even trying to learn how to level the driveway? I've actually never want to do that myself, but I was just watching, they're wasting time. But I'm very conscious what I'm putting in my head most of the time, right? So you start your day with something good. Could be a nice book. If you are a person of faith and you're a Christian, you could start with Bible. If you're some different religion, you have all your scriptures and religious books, or you could meditate, or you just spend 10 minutes with yourself before you jump out of your bed and go to work. And second thing is, I think Einstein or Edison, one of them, he said this. He said, your subconscious is really powerful. Never sleep without giving instructions to it. And that's called, when you end your day, give some instructions to yourself. Plan out something in your mind. Like, you know what? 5 years from now, I want to live life like this. I want to do this kind of a charity. I want to do, I want to go on this kind of a travel trip around the globe. And I want to do this for my parents. So every night, it's like, Carl, when you have a lot of books with you, you have book ends, right? You have a start and the end. So that's what your day should look like. You should start a day in a certain way and you should end it in a certain way. That becomes a bookend for your day. And I think that would be a great place to start with. And it's amazing when you change your inner self, right people start showing up for you, right opportunity will start showing up for you. You will see your boss actually likes you more, and you will get promoted at the same job that you feel is no good for you and you hate being there. You don't have to change no one. The only person you change is yourself. You make your inner person better, your outer world starts shifting and changing as well. And then, of course, like I'm talking to you, let's say if someone is listening to this and they're like, I don't know where to start, get in touch with Carl, get in touch with me. We could just, connect you with certain people, open up a community for you. There is always a place. There is always a person who's willing to help. Here's the best advice I can give someone. Ask.
Yeah.
Ask. Yeah. And it's a powerful thing. Just ask for help. Yeah. A lot of us, we have so much of ego. Like, I'm going to be a self-made man. You're going to be a tiny man or a girl or whatever, right? So ask, because it can actually open so many doors for you. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I think that's a great way to close things out. I mean, count your blessings and you'll have more blessings to count, right? And then never sleep without giving your mind instruction. Thinking is hard. Some beats more. A lot of great tidbits that we were able to get from this conversation. Hopefully, we can get some more time with you in the future. But with that, this has been the episode 1 of the Vencedores podcast. And thank you all for tuning in.
All right. Thanks for having me here, Carl.
All right. Thank you, Katie.
Bye.